March 3, 1934. Crown Point, Indiana. The sirens were silent. The guards were calm. The steel bars locked shut. And then, John Dillinger walked out. Smiling. Free. Alive. They say he had a gun. They say it was made of wood. But no one could stop him. He stole the sheriff's car. He crossed state lines. And he vanished, right in front of America's eyes. But how? Who helped him? And why did so many cheer for a man who robbed, ran, and left bodies behind? This is the story the government tried to forget. The escape that embarrassed the FBI. The legend of the man they called Public Enemy Number 1. This is all real. Every fact you'll hear can be verified. Subscribe to @Unbelievable True Story now. Because what happened next will chill you. The day started quiet. Outside the Lake County Jail, the morning sun warmed the frozen sidewalks. Newspapers fluttered in the breeze. Guards stood by the doors, sipping hot coffee. Inside, it was all routine. No one expected anything strange. But one man in cell 7 was not calm. He was smiling, staring at the bars like he could melt them. His name was John Herbert Dillinger. A bank robber, a legend, and a man who was never supposed to walk free again. To understand the escape, we must go back. John Dillinger was born on June 22, 1903, in Indianapolis, Indiana. He wasn't always a criminal. As a boy, he loved baseball and fireworks. He was quiet, clever, funny. But after his mother died, something inside him changed. He drifted. He fought in the Navy, then deserted. He stole cars. And in 1924, he robbed a grocer. With a toy gun. He was caught fast. Sentenced to 10 years at Pendleton Reformatory. That's where it all began. Pendleton wasn't just prison. It was a classroom. Dillinger met men like Harry Pierpont, Homer Van Meter, Charles McLean. Career criminals, bank robbers, killers. Together, they studied escape plans. They mapped banks. They trained like soldiers. When Dillinger got out in 1933, he wasn't a lost boy anymore. He was ready. Bank emoji. Scene 4. Bank robberies and fame. From June to October 1933, John Dillinger robbed more than 6 banks. He wasn't sloppy. He was fast, polite, and calm. Sometimes he smiled at the tellers. Sometimes he gave money to customers who lost theirs. Once, he returned a dropped wallet. People called him Robin Hood. Even though people died in his robberies, crowds still cheered him. But behind the charm was a dangerous truth. Dillinger carried a Thompson submachine gun. He wore bulletproof vests. He escaped shootouts in 3 different states. The FBI called him Public Enemy Number 1. On January 25, 1934, Dillinger's luck ran out. He was hiding in Tucson, Arizona, with his girlfriend and gang. But a fire broke out at their hotel. Firemen came. One recognized Dillinger from a wanted poster. Within hours, the gang was surrounded. Dillinger was caught. No gunfight. No chase. Just cuffs. He smiled for the cameras. Reporters shouted, "Do you think you'll escape again, Johnny?" He grinned. "Not this time, boys. I'll be good." He was sent back to Indiana. To a jail they said was escape-proof. They were wrong. Lake County Jail looked like a fortress. Steel bars. Thick walls. Armed guards. The sheriff, Lillian Holly, was proud of it. "He's not going anywhere," she told the press. "We'll keep him tight." But inside, Dillinger watched. He waited. And he planned. His weapon? A wooden gun. Some say he carved it himself. Others believe someone smuggled it in. Either way, it worked. March 3, 1934. Dillinger called a guard over. "I want to talk," he said. Then, the wooden gun pressed to the man's side. "Don't be a hero." The guard frowns. Dillinger took his real gun. Then another. One by one, he locked guards in his own cell. 12 in total. He walked through the jail, calm and confident. He found the sheriff's car, a Ford V8. And just like that, he drove away. Free. Again. The news hit hard. Headlines screamed. Dillinger escapes, again. Sheriff outsmarted by wooden gun. America's outlaw laughs last. The FBI was furious. J. Edgar Hoover was embarrassed. Sheriff Lillian Holly faced public rage. She said, "If I made a mistake, it was trusting my men. But the truth? Dillinger had outplayed them all. He was back on the run. With a full head start. And a country divided, half wanted him caught, half wanted his autograph." This is a real story. Every fact you hear is public. You can check it yourself. If real-life mysteries leave you breathless, subscribe now to @Unbelievable True Story. Because the next truth we uncover might hit even closer to home. After stealing the sheriff's car, Dillinger drove across state lines, a federal crime. That's when the FBI took full control. Dillinger dumped the car in Chicago, changed clothes, disappeared. Some say he stayed in town. Others believe he went to Minneapolis, then Florida, even Mexico. The FBI launched America's biggest manhunt. But for now, John Dillinger was a ghost. March 1934. Chicago, Illinois. John Dillinger had escaped. Again. But now, things were different. The FBI was watching. The press was shouting. And America was divided. Some called him a hero. Others, a killer. But everyone knew his name. He moved from city to city, Chicago, Minneapolis, Sioux Falls, using fake names, wearing dark glasses, always watching his back. And each time he robbed a bank, he did it with a smile. After the escape, Dillinger needed help. So he reconnected with Homer Van Meter, Babyface Nelson, Lester Gillis, Tommy Carroll, Eddie Green. They called themselves the Second Dillinger Gang. They had one goal: get rich, stay free. They planned each robbery like a war. Maps, blueprints, inside help. Banks in South Dakota, Iowa, and Wisconsin became their targets. Sometimes they'd fire guns. Other times, no one was hurt. But the FBI? They were closing in. April 1934. Dillinger was getting too famous. Too recognizable. So he did something shocking. He paid a shady doctor in Chicago to change his face. Cut the lines. Remove the dimples. Change the jaw. He even tried to burn off his fingerprints. The surgery was painful. Brutal. Done in a hotel room. He was bandaged for weeks. His face swollen and jaw. But still, it didn't work. He still looked like Dillinger. The FBI started hitting back. On April 3, 1934, agents surrounded Eddie Green's apartment in St. Paul. A shootout broke out. Green was hit. He died days later. Then came Tommy Carroll, gunned down in Waterloo, Iowa. And on April 22, agents tracked Babyface Nelson in Wisconsin. Nelson escaped. But not before killing an FBI agent. Now the Bureau was angry. It wasn't just about Dillinger anymore. It was personal. April 22, 1934. The gang was hiding at a remote lodge called Little Bohemia, in Manitowish Waters, Wisconsin. They thought no one knew. But a phone call tipped the FBI. Late that night, agents surrounded the lodge. But something went wrong. They shot innocent civilians by mistake. And the gunfire alerted the gang. Dillinger, Van Meter, and Nelson all escaped. But others were caught. The press called it the FBI's greatest failure. J. Edgar Hoover was humiliated. He vowed, Dillinger will not escape again. Dillinger wasn't just hiding with criminals. He was also with Billie Frechette, a young woman from Wisconsin. She was half French, half Native American. They were in love. But their love was dangerous. Billie was arrested on April 9, 1934. Agents threatened her, begged her to talk. She stayed silent. Dillinger was crushed. He wrote her letters, cried for her. But he knew he had to disappear again. By June, Dillinger was feeling trapped. He dyed his hair, wore glasses, tried to look older. He used the name James Lawrence. He went to baseball games, to the movies. He tried to feel normal again. But in every city, his face was on walls, on radios, on front pages. He was the most wanted man in America. And someone, someday, would give him up. Then came Anna Campanas, also known as Anna Sage. She was a Romanian madam, running a brothel in Chicago. She was facing deportation. Desperate. And she had a deal to offer. If I give you Dillinger, will you let me stay? She told the FBI. He's going to the movies with Polly Hamilton. I'll bring him. I'll wear red so you know who I am. The FBI agreed. But later, they deported her anyway. Still, her tip would change everything. This is not fiction. Every name, every place, every bullet, it all really happened. You can check the records. But what you'll see next will haunt you. July 22, 1934. Chicago. It was hot. Dillinger, Polly Hamilton, and Anna Sage went to the Biograph Theater to watch Manhattan Melodrama, a movie about a gangster who dies in the end. Inside, Dillinger laughed, ate popcorn, held Polly's hand. Outside, FBI agents surrounded the block. Anna Sage wore a long orange dress. It looked red under the neon lights. As the movie ended, the three stepped outside. Dillinger saw the trap. He ran into the alley. Shots rang out. Pop. Pop pop pop. Dillinger fell. July 22, 1934, 10:40 p.m. Biograph Theater Alley, Chicago, Illinois. The alley smelled like smoke and blood. John Dillinger lay on the ground, still warm. A crowd gathered fast. Some gasped. Some wept. Others cheered. A few ran up with handkerchiefs and dipped them in his blood, hoping to keep a piece of history. One woman cried, "He was our hero." But the law didn't see a hero. They saw a corpse. And the end of America's most wanted man. The body was taken to Cook County morgue. Autopsy photos were taken. His face swollen. His mouth open. His eyes staring at nothing. The FBI proudly confirmed. "We got him." But whispers started right away. Was it really Dillinger? Some said the body looked too tall. The fingerprints, too smooth. The scars, not matching. Others claimed Dillinger had plastic surgery so good, even death couldn't undo it. Doctors said, yes, the eye color matched. Yes, the bullet wounds were real. Yes, the scars from childhood were there. But rumors grew. That's not Dillinger. It's a lookalike. He paid someone to die for him. The FBI said. That's nonsense. But in 1934, there was no DNA test. No video proof. Only photos, fingerprints, and stories. Newspapers exploded. Dillinger dead. The manhunt ends. FBI guns down public enemy number one. But while some celebrated, many mourned. People lined up to see the body. Over 15,000 visited his funeral. He was buried in Crown Hill Cemetery in Indianapolis, beneath a headstone that still stands today. His grave was robbed multiple times. Fans chipped away pieces of it like souvenirs. Over the years, the rumors never stopped. Some said Dillinger fled to South America. Others believed he became a teacher or a farmer under a new name. In the 1970s, a woman claimed she was his daughter. In the 1980s, new photos appeared, men who looked just like him. In 2019, the family asked to exhume his grave and prove the truth. But the cemetery refused. Too many questions. Too much fear. Was it about respect? Or were they hiding something? John Dillinger wasn't just a criminal. He was a myth. A man who robbed over 20 banks, escaped 2 jails, humiliated the FBI, and died with millions watching. He became books, movies, legends. But behind all that, was a boy who lost his mother, who wanted to be someone, who turned anger into bullets. Was he a cold killer? A misunderstood rebel? Or just a man in the wrong time? Some said he fought the greedy banks. Others said he didn't care who got hurt. The truth is, he was both. A man who charmed some, and terrified others. This story is not fiction. Every moment, every name, every shot fired, is part of a real case. You can look it up. You can walk the same streets. But the truth? It may never be complete. Today, at Crown Hill Cemetery, Dillinger's grave still draws visitors. Some leave flowers. Others leave coins. And some just stand there, wondering, is he really down there? Or is this whole story a trick? No one can say for sure. But one thing is certain. John Dillinger's name never died. Have you heard this story before? Do you think it was really him in that alley? If it wasn't, where do you think he went? If you're drawn to real stories that stay with you, subscribe now to @Unbelievable True Story. Because every week, we reveal the darkest truths hidden in plain sight. After Dillinger's death, America split. Some said, "Good. A killer's gone." Others whispered, "He fooled them. He's still alive." The press printed both stories. One side showed bloody photos. The other asked hard questions. Even today, no one agrees. Behind closed doors, the FBI wasn't celebrating. Yes, they killed public enemy number one. But it took over 30 failed attempts. Millions in costs. Innocent lives lost. J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI's leader, needed a victory story. He told the press, "We caught the worst criminal in America." But inside FBI files, mistakes were everywhere. Hoover turned Dillinger into a legend. But he also erased parts of the story. Why? Because he had failed, over and over. Agents missed him in Chicago twice. They botched the Little Bohemia raid. They lost track of him in Minneapolis. And worst of all, he escaped a jail they called inescapable. To save face, Hoover made Dillinger a ghost. A myth. A monster. And said, "Now he's dead. We won." But he really died that night. Let's look at the facts. The body was 5 feet 7 inches. Dillinger was 5 feet 9 inches. The corpse had brown eyes. Dillinger's were gray. Scars and moles were missing. Fingerprints were burned and unclear. Photos from the morgue don't match earlier ones. Was it a mistake? Or a switch? In 2019, 85 years later, Dillinger's living relatives asked for his grave to be dug up. They said, We believe he escaped. That grave is not his. They got court approval. They had plans to test DNA. The world waited. But the cemetery refused. They said, "It will disturb others buried nearby." Conspiracy? Or just rules? No one knows. The grave remains sealed. And the truth stays buried. After his death, or disappearance, Dillinger became something new. A movie star. Books, songs, TV shows, all told different stories. He was played by Warren Oates, Mark Harmon, Johnny Depp. In Public Enemies, 2009, some showed him as a folk hero, others as a cold killer. But every version asked, why do we love him? If he was so dangerous? Even now, in the 2020s, his face is on t-shirts. His name is in rap songs. His photo hangs in bars and museums. Why? Because Dillinger is unfinished business. He made the law look weak. He turned crime into a game. And he made America question its heroes and villains. In the classified FBI files, we find things that raise eyebrows. A memo from 1934, subject may have escaped disguised. Notes of confusion at the scene, agents couldn't agree who they shot. Missing pages from Dillinger's Chicago timeline. Some say the FBI knew they shot the wrong man, and kept it quiet to save their image. Others believe he paid off the woman in red. Let someone else take the bullets. Whatever the truth is, it's hidden deep in files no one wants you to read. Over the decades, people swore they saw Dillinger in Mexico, running a farm. In California, as a preacher. In Detroit, at a boxing match. One even said, "He's my uncle. He just never came home." But no photo, no video, no clear proof. And yet, the rumors won't stop. Why? Because legends never die. Everything in this story, from the wooden gun to the alley behind the Biograph Theater, is true. Every source comes from public records, FBI files, and real news reports. But the ending, that part, you'll have to decide for yourself. Before we close the case, we have to ask, who was this man the world couldn't forget? He was born June 22, 1903, in Indianapolis, Indiana. His mother died when he was a baby. His father was strict, a church-going grocer. Young John was restless, angry, always in trouble. At 20, he robbed his first store. A mistake. He was caught and sent to prison for 10 years. By the time he got out, he was no longer just a boy with a bad temper. He was someone who had learned how to be a criminal. Inside prison, Dillinger met men who'd robbed banks, killed cops, escaped jails. They taught him everything. How to get inside a vault. How to build a gang. How to plan a getaway. When he left prison in 1933, the country was in the Great Depression. Banks were seen as evil. People had lost everything. So when Dillinger robbed banks, some folks said, "Good. They robbed us first." Dillinger wasn't just a thief. He was smart, confident. He smiled, joked with hostages, even handed out money during robberies. But don't be fooled. He used guns. He scared people. He escaped police with stolen cars and hot bullets. He killed when he had to, or when he felt trapped. And yet, women loved him. Reporters followed him. Kids pretended to be him in the street. He was America's first media criminal. In the 1930s, newsreels played before movies. That meant millions saw his mugshot. Footage of his captured gang. Photos of his jail escape. People gasped, cheered, asked for more. He became bigger than the banks he robbed. Let's look into Dillinger's mind. Experts believe he had antisocial behavior, a deep need for attention, no trust in authority. But he wasn't stupid. He studied law books in jail. He wrote letters in perfect handwriting. He built gadgets and mapped out police response times. He didn't rob to survive. He robbed for power. Some say Anna Campanas, the woman in red, was forced to give Dillinger up. Others say she saw a chance to save herself. The FBI used her tip, and then deported her anyway. She died in poverty, forgotten by history. But without her, the alley outside the Biograph Theater might have stayed quiet. There are still pieces of the story we never found. The real gun used in the alley vanished. Dillinger's letters to Billy, burned by family. Jail records from Crown Point, missing pages. Anonymous tips that said he fled to Cuba, never followed up. Even the FBI's own records show conflicting witness reports. 2 different death photos? Confused statements from agents. What does it mean? Maybe nothing. Or maybe everything. In Crown Hill Cemetery, Dillinger's grave still draws crowds. But diggers say the coffin is covered in concrete. Thick. Heavy. Impenetrable. Why? To stop grave robbers? Or to stop anyone from learning the truth? The family wanted to test DNA, but the state and cemetery blocked it. One relative said, "They don't want the public to know what really happened." And just like that, we hit a wall. John Dillinger's story still burns because it asks us, what if the government lied? What if a man really did escape death? What if we never know the truth? It's not just about crime. It's about control. Who controls the story? Who controls justice? And who controls how it ends? Imagine standing there, at night, at the Biograph Theater, next to that narrow alley. You can still see the bricks where blood hit the wall. You can almost hear the shots. And maybe, just maybe, you'll feel something behind you. A chill. A whisper. A question that won't go away. Was it really him? Have you heard this story before? Do you believe John Dillinger really died in that alley? Or did he outsmart them all and vanish? If you're drawn to real stories that stay with you, subscribe now to @Unbelievable True Story. Because every week, we reveal the darkest truths hidden in plain sight. By emoji. Watch the next video on your screen, or dive into our full playlist of unsolved crimes, secret files, and real-life legends. Because the next story might be even more unbelievable.